An anonymous person once said, "Sometimes our thoughts are backed with so much insecurity that they create lies we believe."
This is the Black Bible. All right, welcome back to the Black Bible. We are so excited for this week's topic, and we're going to talk about insecurities, not the webtoon, but
That's insecurity.
insecurities. What do we feel insecure about? I think the topic of insecurity is a broad one because there is a plethora of things one can feel insecure about. One can feel insecure about how they look. One can feel insecure about how they sound. One can feel insecure about their place in this world. One can feel insecure about the job that they have. I mean, one can feel insecure about the role that they play in life, about being a mom or being a child or being a student, being a daughter. It's a lot of things people can feel insecure about. So it's a very wide topic.
It's a very wide scope, and I think that this is one of the things that, because it's so wide, that to narrow it down to just being like insecure about your body, insecure about your position in life, I think it would kind of sort of not really diminishes, but it puts like a spotlight on one area while like dimming all the other areas. Like a topic like insecurity, you could literally do a whole season about different kinds of insecurity. So even in this episode, there's a lot of insecurities that we may not even get around to addressing because at the time, like, we're not even thinking, oh, this is also insecurity. So I think in this episode, we're probably mainly going to cover about what we feel insecure about, or mainly what we feel like sharing what we feel insecure about, and ways that we kind of sort of counteract those insecurities, whether, you know, we've managed to kind of like keep it in check, or like from time to time it flares up, but just ways that help us kind of manage, like, okay, by doing this, I'm kind of like rooting myself wherever, and my insecurities that are like flowing over is kind of like receding like a tide. Or like a wave.
But I have a question, though. Where do insecurities come from? Where do you think insecurities come from?
I think insecurities come from, it's going to sound weird, but the depths of your mind, really. Where it's just that you see somebody else succeeding in some area, not to be confused with jealousy or envy, but you see somebody else succeeding in some area, and you may be in that same area, and you're like, you know, I can't do it as well as they could. Or even, you know, before we started recording, we were talking about social media. Like, you see on social media, this couple is getting married by 25, this person has a house by 20, and here you are 27, and you're like, I'm neither married nor have a house. Or this person who's 18 has already had their own business and it's like blowing up, and here you are working a 9 to 5, really wanting your own business, but, you know, you just can't get it off the ground, and you're just like, huh. You know, so I think it spawns from the depths of our mind, and it's almost like a response to the things that we see. Almost in that way. Not everything that we see, but if I'm playing guitar and I see someone who is a better guitarist than I am, and by my standards, then I could start feeling insecure about playing guitar, because it's like, okay, this person may have been playing for 2 years, I've been playing for 8, and I can't do nearly as much as they could do. So, like, dang, like, wow, like, am I really up to par? Like, I thought I was good, but am I really? Question mark? Like,
I think so. I think a lot of our insecurities, like you said, come from the depths of our mind, and like you said, societal pressure. I think a lot of my insecurities come from societal pressure. And I think a lot of women are going to agree with me in this, and that societal pressure really puts a nail in the coffin of our insecurities, because especially as a woman of color, representation wasn't a thing. I mean, as a kid, we didn't have a plethora of representation. And before people fight me and say, well, Raven from That's So Raven and Penny Proud from the Proud Family, like, yes, those were like influential characters, characters who spotlighted the African American experience. However, those were only few far and in between. I mean, a lot of the main characters were white. A lot of the main popular characters were white. I mean, I saw a spoken word that talked about Disney princesses, and I was like, wait a minute, they're absolutely correct. Most of the princesses were white. And so you grew up not having that type of representation. That's one. So you think lighter skin is better. You have an insecurity about the shade of your skin. Then as a person who grew up before this whole natural hair movement, majority of people had perms. So my mother was adamant on not getting me having a perm. So then it was insecure about my hair to the point where I almost fried it off, So like that, the societal pressure was one that really got to me. All my friends had a perm. I could count on one hand of a friend of mine who did not have a perm or a texturizer on one hand. It's 5 fingers on a hand. Like, that's crazy. Now it's everybody's natural. Before, it's everybody had a perm. And so when you grow up in that type of environment, it's like, okay, well, I feel really insecure about my curls because nobody else has curls. Everybody else is wearing their hair straight with the bump at the end. And black girls know what I'm talking about, because you couldn't get it straight because then it was too grown. But that made me feel insecure about my hair. Then, I mean, when you think about body image, I don't even want to go into that, because then that whole era of this whole thing about accepting all bodies is brand new. That's a brand new concept. So, that in itself is a whole different type of insecurity. I mean, when your mom wears a size 8 and you wear a size 12 and she's having a problem with the size 8, you go, what? Huh? You start to feel insecure about your own body size when you look and see everybody else is skinny and then you're the only one who's like kind of chunky. You go, okay. When people don't want to talk to you because you're on the bigger side, you go, okay. You start feeling insecure about this, not just the color of your skin, not just the curls in your hair, but the actual body that you're in. And so I feel like a lot of that stemmed from childhood. Therapy. But like, a lot of it stemmed from childhood, but I don't know, this next generation, I don't know. I don't know if they will have the same insecurities, because it seems to me that everybody is accepted, every shade of skin,
every body size, every hair texture, which made, as a child, that made, especially as a girl child, that made me feel like crap. Now, as I think we as a generation has shifted that. Because now it's like, no, I'm not about to pass that attitude and that way of thinking on to the next generation. Right.
No. We've endured enough crap. We can line a therapist's pockets for years to come. I'm not about to do that to this next generation. So I don't know about those type of insecurities about one's body image and how one feels. I know it's going to be present, but I don't know how how thick, I don't know if that's not the word, how heavy.
I think I understand what you mean. How much weight it's going to carry. Right.
For a friend of mine who just had a baby the other day when they turned 13. You know? I mean, social media plays with our minds, but by that time when this child is 12, 13, if we still have an earth to live on, I mean, they won't have the same societal pressures in that area. Or will they? I don't know.
I think kind of bouncing off of that, like a major insecurity for me definitely has to be like, and I think part of it is more internal than external, but definitely it has to be like, you know, the people around me, more specifically like the friends that I have, and that growing up and I think we had touched this on a previous episode, I think on our first episode, where it's just that growing up, like, you know, there wasn't necessarily that notion of like, you know, you have to make friends and like, you know, you have to like, because in elementary school, like you were friends with your seatmate. For most of the times, you were friends with your seatmates. There was exceptions to the rules, but most of the times, and that's just because like you hung around them.
Yeah.
Like if it was 5 of you at a table, then the 5 of you were friends just based off of proximity. But kind of sort of like growing up and experiencing different things and experience being burned and being the whole 24 yards is kind of like, okay, here I am in my 20s and like I have friends that really mean a lot to me, but like, am I being a nuisance to them and they're kind of sort of just putting up with me? Like even this person that I started to talk to recently and like we slowly starting to become better friends, it's like, okay, am I really boring, or is this person like, is this person really invested in the conversation, or like, am I just boring and they're just being courteous and not saying like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you anymore, goodbye. Like, so I mean, that's kind of sort of a big thing for me in terms of like insecurity, because most of the part, like for anybody who knows me, like I'm a very like person oriented person, but not like I need like a huge social gathering. Like the little friends that I have, I hold like really close and really dear, because I think it was Need to Breathe who said it in their song Brother. Like, yeah, I'm not made for rivalry. Like I could never take the world alone. Like I feel that line, because it's like, yeah, like I was really made to like have people in my corner. And of course that's a different conversation where it's like, you know, not necessarily glorifying the people, but glorifying God for putting those people in your life. But that's a different conversation for a different time. But that's kind of like a major thing for me, is like, okay, am I really like being a bother? Do they really really want to hang around me, or are they just being courteous? And I like, essentially I live my life in a way that I'm just literally waiting for the shoe to drop so I could be like, damn, I knew it. Like I knew it. I knew it the whole time. Like, and so that kind of sort of, that's just that for me was just like,
it's funny because I have that same inkling. And I don't think we ever talked about this, in that I understand where you're coming from, because that's why I don't bother people. I'm the person who encourages everybody and does not expect anybody to encourage me, because I don't put what I am going through or how I'm feeling on my friends. I just feel like it's not. And I read this in a book, and it's scary when I read that when I read how people think. I think it's called Get Out of Your Head. When I read that passage in a book, I was really scared, because I'm like, that is me. I don't talk about what I'm going through. I feel like if I do, I'm burdening my friends, and it's unfair to them. But on the flip side, when my friend had texted me the other day, and she was apologizing for being annoying and always needing help and blah blah blah. I said, well, was my job as your friend. Like, once I became your friend, I signed this imaginary contract to be here for you. I signed this contract to uplift you, because that's the type of friend that I am. And so I find that it's kind of like do as I say and not as I do.
Yep.
Like talk to me if you need me, but don't expect me to talk to you. Because I find that it's I feel like it's unfair for me to bother you, which is not the case, you know? I think really and truly we feel that way is because the positions that we're in, and the type of people that we are. And I don't know about you, but I feel like my problems are trivial. I'll just be like, man, it'll be okay.
I personally feel like to me my problems aren't trivial, but it's kind of like one of those things. And I made this joke with my close circle of friends the other night, like 2 nights ago, to where it's just like, if I was in a Saw movie, and for those of you who don't know Saw, if I remember correctly, is like this one person kind of like creates traps, and people are going to flame me if I get this wrong. This one person kind of sort of like creates traps and is like essentially, gosh, I hope I don't get this wrong. Essentially is like almost along the lines of like revealing the true nature of the person.
Yeah. I've never seen a Saw movie, so I'm going to trust your judgment.
I'm going to qualify my statement with this. I have never sat through a full Saw movie. I have only watched movie recaps. So if I got it wrong, I blame the recaps, not myself. But no, seriously though, if I was in a Saw movie and Jigsaw, and so say it was set up to where like I'm at like a bottom of a basin with a cinder block tied to my feet, and Jigsaw said all you have to do to escape is cry for help, I will literally wait until the water is almost drowning me before I start calling for help. Because my mind is that I'm not really trying to bother nobody, so I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to figure out how to solve this by myself.
Same.
And if I start to drown, it's going to be at the last moment where I'm like, maybe I should ask for help. Maybe I need help. Help. Exactly. That will be me. So I don't know for you, but for me, it's like, I know my problems aren't trivial, but it's like, I just can't bring myself to like say, hey, I'm really I think only have one friend that I will honestly, if I'm having a really hard time, he'll ask how I'm doing, and I'll be like, to be honest, man, I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
Any other of my friends ask me how I'm doing, life is great. My foot could be on fire, and I'd be like, life is grand. Like, I could be in a cast, and I'd be like, man, I'm walking. I ain't going nowhere. Like, because I feel as if, and I don't know whether it's a male thing, or it's a male thing in combination, like what you said, like the position we're in and the type of people we are. But it's just like, it's extremely hard for me to like just open up and say, hey, I'm really going through this. Maybe that ties into the trust issues I have too. I mean, it could be a grand number of things, but that's just one of those things. Like,
and I think it could be trust issues, and it's not because I'm insecure about the friends that I have. I'm very secure about them. I love my friends to pieces. I don't know, like, I trust them, but you know what? No, I don't know about you.
I trust them, but again, like I said,
them, but again, like I don't. Do I trust them all the way is probably the question that I have to ask myself.
Yeah.
But I get that. No, I get that. I am the person who says, I think we're both the same in that I say, let me solve this myself. Let me see if I can learn how to pick a lock by the time the water reaches to my neck, and learn how to dog paddle, or before I cry for help. And I think it's because, like, again, it might be I need to see a therapist type thing.
Maybe.
Because it's just something that is in me. The only person, and I'm glad you have somebody who you can say, yeah, I'm not feeling that great. I think the thing is though, like, I do have a group of people who I can say, yeah, you know, I'm not feeling that great, and I could like vent to, but I don't. And it's just a choice that I make, because I always, again, I think, a show that I watched, Sweet Magnolia, said, you know, why does she always have to be the strong friend? I categorize that myself in that area, and that, I'm the strong friend. I'm the friend that everybody can turn to. I'm the friend that people want to talk to. Like, I'm the friend that if I see you crying, I'm going to go, what's wrong?
What's up?
Even though, like, internally, I cannot take not another message.
That is facts.
So that's just, I think, again, I don't know why God created me that way. I don't wish he didn't, but I wish I knew how to turn that off. And see you crying and be like, it's gonna be okay, but I can't help you right now. Can I talk to you tomorrow? But in a more tactical way.
Can we take a rain check?
Yeah, but I think that insecurity of I don't know what type of insecurity, not of my place in my friend group. I don't know. I feel secure about my place. I just don't feel secure enough to disrupt that image of who I am, even though it wouldn't take away from who I am. Does that make sense?
I think I understand where you're coming from.
The image that I have portrayed is that I'm the strong friend. I've never said I never had any issues. I just I put the image of I am the strong friend. You can always come and talk to me, which is true. However, I don't want to destroy that image and have people think, well, I don't want it. The word is not fragile, but let's use it. She's fragile, so let's not talk to her, even though I can be broken and still help you. I think that's kind of what has pushed me to that point, is that I could be like falling apart and still find something in me to pour into you, because that's just how I am. But I think for friends, and why we always end up talking about friends?
Good question.
I mean, I guess because neither of us are in a relationship, so the closest thing to a relationship is a friendship.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that in itself is something that we both have to work on, you know. Again, having a friend that you can say, hey, I'm not feeling so good is great, because then you have a listening ear. I have people who will listen, I just don't talk to them in that area. But I think for me, insecurity for me is just the whole insecure about the future, and that might just be just an anxiety more than an insecurity, because then I like to know what's happening next. I'm a planner who doesn't plan. And I'm a planner who I like to know what's going to happen next, but then I'll go with the flow once I get there. And so not knowing what happens next makes me feel just like, bleh, you know? Especially because we talked about it before this podcast, where everybody's having their own business, or they're like having, like, I think you said they open their own business and you want to have a business, or they're working their 9-to-5 job and you don't have a job, or like, they're moved into their own house or their own apartment and we're still living with our parents, you know, that type of thing. That makes me insecure in me, because it's like, and that's a societal thing, and that social media will have you thinking that you're behind, and society will have you thinking that you're behind. But when really and truly, you can't find a job. You can't go get an apartment. You have no money. You have no money. So all the other things that you are supposed to have at this age is like, it can't happen. So the root of the issue is you got to find a job. But how do you find a job?
And that was gonna be something I was gonna lead into, like, even on top of like how do you find a job, like more specifically, like how do you counteract that insecurity?
Yeah.
Because okay, we understand like finding a job on paper and again, for someone who has never job hunt a day in his life, from the outside looking in, it looks relatively simple, even though I know it's not. If you need a job, you look for a job that you qualify for, like the hours you want to work, whatever. You find that job, you apply for it, you get in, you don't, so like I said, as a person who has not job hunt, now that's not saying I'm sitting here living large and luxury, because I'm not. But as a person who has never had to job hunt before, for me, the outside looking in, it's like, okay, I need a job. Let me see what I could find.
Yeah.
But I'm bouncing off of that, kind of like the overall theme of the podcast. Like, how do you personally, how do you not intersect. How do you...
intersect could be a thing.
Or, okay, so how do you intersect those insecurities about interact? Or like, how do you fight? There we go. How do you fight those insecurities about not having a job, or insecurities about your body image, or insecurities about, your insecurities personally?
I think for me, it's couple of things that really stick out for me. One that helps me stay grounded is knowing that social media is a lie, and that what I follow is what I see. And so I follow successful people, I'm going to see successful things. If I follow people who are influencers, then I'm going to see other influencing things on my timeline, on my For You page. That's what I'm going to see. So Instagram is an algorithm. What I like, what I spend more time on, that's what the computer, the AI is going to say, push more stuff out to her.
Right.
I spend a lot of time looking at books. They push a lot of book content out to me. I spend a lot of time looking at Christian pages. They push a lot of that stuff out to me. I follow a couple of influencers and I like their stuff. They push a lot of that out to me. So what I follow is what I see. And so not everything, again, Instagram is highlights. TikTok is highlights. All those things are just like moments in time that people stage, that people capture. And so everybody talks about the business. Nobody talks about how hard it is to open the business. Everybody talks about being an influencer. Nobody talks about how hard it is to start and get over your own insecurities to become an influencer. Everybody talks about becoming a teacher. Nobody talks about the stupid Georgia Gates test that you got to take and pass so that you become a teacher. Nobody talks about the process. And so knowing that Instagram is only 1% of a person's life, reminding myself of that helps me go, okay, fine. Nobody just wakes up and have an amazing body. They had to exercise and eat right and do what they had to do to get that body. Right. So, I'm only seeing the end of their journey or the middle of their journey, not the beginning when they weighed 200 pounds or when they weighed 150, which is a normal weight for some people. I didn't see that. I'm only seeing them weigh 85, which is not healthy at our age. I get you. So, that helps me stay grounded. Another thing is that when I feel really insecure, I surround myself with people who make me feel secure. And that's the thing why friendships are so important, or whatever relationship that you're in, are so important. Surrounding yourself with people who make you feel secure makes me feel grounded. And that I know these people are comforting. I don't have to be anybody else but myself around these people. If they do have thoughts, they're keeping it to themselves. Or they're going to bring it up in a way that it's loving and nice and caring, and it's not going to make me feel worse about myself than I already feel. Right. That's how I combat that. And along with prayer, especially if I'm feeling really overwhelmed, I'll be like, Jesus, help. That's the one other person I will cry out help for. Yeah. Jesus, help me. I'm drowning. And I feel like as a person who does that, when I'm done, it's like I feel better, because then one other person who knows me from the inside out is God himself. So if he can't help, then ain't nothing happening.
If God ain't gonna do it.
If God ain't gonna do it, it's not gonna get fixed. But I feel like really as the problem that, and I like we having this conversation, is that as Christians, especially Black Christians, especially in our circle, more Caribbean-based apostolic circles, that insecurities is not something that we talk about. Even though you could see it written on all people's faces.
And not only that, like you could also see it in the Bible, where it's that it's certain characters of the Bible, like Gideon, like they had insecurities. Mm-hmm. Like we may not, when we read those stories, we may not say like, oh, that's an insecurity. Right. But like when you really sit down and you think about it, like there are a lot of characters that did have insecurities, but the way they overcame it, and not to steal the mic from you, no. But the way they overcame it is like almost every time they had that trust in God. Yeah. And that trust in God was pretty much at the forefront. And honestly, sometimes it was God sent certain people. Yeah. Or God sent certain signs. Or sometimes it was like an angel went to speak with them. Or sometimes it was like God sent people who stood in their corner and helped them. And so it's like kind of like, and I like what you said was like, that is true. Like God is the only one who knows us from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So God knows the insecurities that we have. Mm-hmm. And so he's not gonna, at least I'd like to believe that he's not gonna put us in a situation to where we feel insecure. Mm-hmm. And if we are in those situations, then that is a move for God. That is a move for us to come to God and be like, God, here I am. I'm really insecure or scared, because insecurity and fear goes hand in hand. I'm really insecure or scared about where I am. Mm-hmm. And sometimes just by saying that, God's like, okay, here's some people, here's a ram in the thicket, here's a bird that's going to bring manna from wherever. Here's manna coming from the sky. Here's different provisions for you in this spot, in this area, in this aspect of your life that I'm sending you, so that while the insecurity may not really go away, but as long as you remember that, hey, I'm with you, and here are the things, and I've given you things to help combat that, then that overwhelming feeling of insecurity, in my honest opinion, will lessen. Instead of it being like a whole giant wave, it may be like a little kitty wave. Like instead of it pretty much washing over all of you, it may only wash over the top half of your body. And the more you learn to lean on God, the more you learn to open up to those people that God have put in your life, the more you learn to kind of like lean on the provisions that God has given you, is the easier it becomes to handle those insecurities. I even, tell it to you all the time, where it's just like, sometimes I believe the reason why certain doors never open is because God is saying that I give you everything that you need in order to thrive without you going through this door. Like, for example, like, okay, with job searching, like I've told you that maybe the whole reason why this job searching journey that you're on is very hard is because God is saying that, hey, I've given you all you need in order for you to be prosperous in this season that I have in your life. Yeah. So I think that's kind of like, to give like because I didn't even talk about how I handle insecurity.
Talk about it. How do you handle insecurity?
Because my thing is it's almost along that same type of line. Just reminding myself is like, okay, I belong in this.
So affirmation.
Yeah. So like, I belong in this friend group. And sometimes even talking to like my close circle is just like, yeah, like, they really do want me here.
Sorry, I don't know why
but it's like, okay, like you talk to them and it's like, yeah, okay, they really do want me here. Right. So whenever those feelings of insecurity come about, is pretty much reminding myself that, hey, no, like, they want me here. Right. And sometimes even a step further, like, I know for a fact God placed me here for a reason. I know for a fact God told me, hey, stick to these people. So even when those insecurities come about, and like you said, for my main part is affirmation. Mm-hmm. But I think all of that stems from, like, again, God's, even because sometimes even when you don't cry out to God, God is like, okay, I see you're going through this. Let me send
Somehow,
let me send somebody, let me send provisions, let me send affirmation, let me send a word, let me send you to a specific scripture, let me send some people to you. Like, I know one of the ways God comforts me is through the people that I have around. Where it's just like, okay, I know some days was like an extremely hard day, but whenever I get around those set of people, is like that day never, like the hard day I was having before is gone. I know sometimes, so I know that's how God speaks to me. And if I was to pretty much wallow in my insecurities, wallow in my self-doubt and my fears, then I will never reach that aspect of peace, because I'm too busy thinking, should I really be here? Do they really want me here? So I think the moral of the lesson, that was actually pretty smart of me. The moral of the lesson, the moral of the lesson in Insecurities is that it's not a new thing.
Yeah, no.
It's been around since the Bible was written, since God, and before then, since God inspired man to write the words of God. And it's pretty much been all the way up to now. And from a Christian standpoint, yes, leaning on God and pretty much dwelling within God and his peace, but also from a slightly less Christian standpoint, finding those people, finding those things, finding those aspects of life that you could say, you know what, I'm not necessarily I'm in control, but I'm comfortable around. Yeah. These people make me feel comfortable.
That's the thing, right?
These things make me feel comfortable.
That's the thing. It's not just about people being, and when you said, and it's a whole different podcast where we talk about being God sent people to be in your life. That's a whole nother topic, because then sometimes we have people who are in our lives who God has not sent to be in our lives. We're just comfortable, even though they're like siphoning us and killing us. But that's a whole nother topic. But that's the ticket. That's it right there. It's finding things and being around people and doing things that make you feel comfortable. When I feel anxious, I listen to music. Music is comforting. That makes me feel comfortable. When I'm like, oh, I can't do this, I do something that I know I can do well. Then it helps my brain to redirect and think about this thing that I can't do in a whole nother way. It's finding stuff that makes you feel comfortable, being around people that make you feel like you, heck, journaling, if that's what you need to do, in order for you to battle those insecurities. And that's the main thing. God is very comfortable. He's like a spirit. You can't really lean on him like physically, but emotionally and spiritually, he's comforting. And so that's why that works, because he's not going to change like people. Right. But then you have that friend group that makes you feel comfortable, and that's why that works. You have your favorite pillow and your favorite blanket that you snuggle with if you're feeling like overly anxious. That's comfortable. It helps ground you. Doing things that make you feel comfortable, make you ground you, is what helps battle that insecurity. Obvious for us, I guess for the people who are listening, will help you battle those insecurities. If you wallow in it and don't come out of it, then you're going to find yourself in a dark place. Comfortability. That's a whole nother topic too.
Like I said, that's several topics within the topic,
because there's some things that we are comfortable with that we should not be comfortable with, but that's a whole nother topic. But insecurities, how do we battle them? Everybody has them. Don't feel like you're the only one who is going through it, having it, thinking about it, suffering. You're not alone in it. Find a friend group. Find support, a therapist. Talk to your friends, your neighbor if they're close, your brother, your sister, your parents,
and find things. If you're reading, maybe sometimes watching TV, sometimes writing, journaling, playing video games. There's different things that.
And then people will say, and I want to end this because I talk too much. People will say, well, if you do that, you're just avoiding the issue. And yes, to an extent, because again, insecurity, it means that you are not feeling secure. So you're turning to something that makes you feel secure. And then when you are ready to deal with this insecurity, then you can deal with it however you see fit. I think that's the another thing. You don't have to deal with your insecurity the way people tell you should deal with it, or the way people say that they dealt with it. You can deal with your insecurity. If that means going around the bush and beating it against the head behind a bush, like ambushing your insecurity, then if that's how you want to deal with it, then ambush your insecurity. If you want to deal with it head on, then deal with it head on. I mean, there's different ways to attack your insecurities, but as long as you're like overcoming them and not letting it overcome you, then you're winning. The day that your insecurities are overcoming you is the day that you're going to, I don't know what type of day that is. I've had those type of days, and it's like the worst day ever. But then you wake up the next day, you put on your boxing gloves, and you decide, I will not be tapped out like that. I'm going to beat this thing. The day you stop fighting is the day you die. That's it. So don't think that you're alone in this. And I'm going to shut up, I promise. Don't think that you're alone in this. Don't think that you're the only one. And don't think that if your insecurities get the best of you today, that you can't get the best of it tomorrow. Until this is not an MMA fight anymore. This is like a child, a baby slapping you. Like, this doesn't hurt anymore. Every day is another fight, another day, and it's another chance for you to beat it. Another chance for you to overcome. And if you wake up every morning saying, I'm going to champion this day. I'm going to champion this day, Yasmin. I'm going to be the champion of this day.
That also works.
Regardless of what happens, then you're winning already. So I'm done talking.
So I don't think I have to wrap up because you pretty much wrapped it up well. This has been another episode of the Black Bible. And hey, stay tuned. We're going to do something a bit different come, not the end of this month of June, but come July. So stay tuned in the next couple of episodes for more information. We're still kind of working a few things out, but when we pretty much have a general gist of it, we'll let you guys know. But until next time, see you guys.